For you hot dogs that have been listening to RTG for a while now, you may remember that back in the early days of the show, I talked about how we were just a little weed in the gaming podcast garden and we kept growing and growing. And I never would have imagined we'd become the full-on infestation that the podcast has become now. If you've ever dreamed of running your own business, all you have to do is plant that little seed and start watering, and you can surprise yourself. And I know, it can seem very overwhelming at first. You need a website, a logo, you need to figure out how to advertise your business, how to accept payments when you make sales. It's a lot, but thankfully that's where our sponsor Shopify comes in. Shopify is the commerce platform of choice for millions of businesses around the world, from the little startups to behemoths like Mattel and Gymshark. 10% of all e-commerce in the US uses Shopify. You can use Shopify to make a website. They can help you write descriptions and enhance your product photos for that website. They offer super easy to run email and social media campaigns so your advertising is covered. They're like the greatest employee of the month of all time. And if you get stuck along the way, they're there to help with their award-winning 24/7 customer service. Turn those dreams into and give them the best shot at success with Shopify. Sign up for your $1 per month trial and start selling today at shopify.com/RTG. Go to shopify.com/RTG. Shopify.com/RTG. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Remember the Game. It is my retro gaming podcast where every week a buddy of mine and I sit down and we geek out about the games we played back in the day. My name is Adam Blank. Thank you so much for listening to the show. And this week it is episode 349. It's one of our prestigious Patreon poll winning episodes. And we are finally talking some Fire Emblem. I can fairly safely say that there's not a franchise out there I like more that's had to wait this long for an episode of Remember the Game. And I can give you an Adam Blank lock of the week guarantee. It will not be 349 weeks before we cover another Fire Emblem game. But to start it off, we're going to go with Fire Emblem, the Blazing Blade for the Game Boy Advance. Some of you may just know it as Fire Emblem, as it's said on the cover. And not to get all scientific on you guys, but this was the first Fire Emblem to find its way into North America with a localization. I didn't play it back then, but it's available now on Nintendo Switch Online. It won our Patreon poll a few months ago. I sunk over 30 hours into it, and with it being North America's first Fire Emblem, it seemed like a great place to start. A couple of quick notes. There's some spoilers in this episode, but I'm hoping that maybe we convince a few of you to give Fire Emblem a shot. So we tried to keep the spoilers gentle. We do talk about some of the characters that can be recruited, some of the most powerful characters, some strategy, but there's like one, in air quotes, big plot twist near the end. We don't ruin that for you. If you've never played this game, I don't think anything we say in the next hour and a half is going to ruin your ability to enjoy the game. Couple of quick shots or notes here as well. My voice may sound a little off. I just had a weekend full of flying to Toronto, drinking way too much beer and yelling at baseball players, then flying back to Edmonton and yelling at professional wrestlers. Not enough sleep. My voice is paying the price for my shenanigans this past weekend, so I'm sorry for that. And when we get into the game chat, the audio is a little bit off, but I've gotten better at cleaning it up. Not all of my guests own professional podcasting setups. They're just my friends. They volunteer their time to come on. We make do the best we can. And quite frankly, I don't think anybody at this point is listening to Remember the Game for the top quality audio, right? You're listening to it because you want to look at my boobs. I'm aware of it. It's fine. I don't think anyone out there is making a living on gaming content by just showing off their assets. So that's what I'm going to start doing because the market is untapped, I think. Anyways, Fire Emblem. Really quickly, I'll share my brief history with this series. Like I said, I missed this one on the GBA. My first Fire Emblem game was Fire Emblem Awakening on the 3DS, and I only played it because I used to listen to IGN's Nintendo voice chat. That back then it was hosted by Jose Otero, and they did an episode where they ranked the best games on the 3DS, and I think Fire Emblem Awakening came in at number 1. It was top 2 or 3 anyways. And it just got me intrigued because I was like, what is this game that everybody keeps talking about? All I knew about Fire Emblem going into this was the characters in Smash Brothers. Then I looked this thing up and saw it was a digital board game. And I was like, what the fuck? Where has this been all my life? I bought Fire Emblem Awakening, absolutely adored it. And I've been a fan of not only the series, but the genre ever since. So I promise more Fire Emblem, including a Fire Emblem Awakening episode is coming at some point. It just should be known, like, these are not 5-hour games. These are big, beefy RPGs. You're going to sink some time into these ones. So like I said, I put about 30 hours, give or take, into playing through this one on my Nintendo Switch to get ready for this episode. I have a lot to say about it. My guest this week is one of our resident RPG nerds and power-hungry Discord mods, my buddy Keegs, and we spent about an hour, a little more than an hour, diving into the deep world of Fire Emblem. We talked about our favorite characters, our least favorite party members, some of the story. We tried to keep it a little vague. I don't think we'll ruin anything for you, but some of the story, the series as a whole, some of the strategy that goes into the game, a whole bunch of stuff like that. I know Fire Emblem is kind of a niche franchise and not everybody out there plays these games, but if you're in said niche, I really think / hope you're going to lap this episode up. And we'll get to all that in just a couple of minutes, because speaking of only appealing to a particular niche of, God damn it. How did I ruin the transition? Whatever. It's time for the infamous intro. How did I fuck it up that bad? You had one fucking job, Blank. One fucking job. If you're new to the podcast, welcome aboard. Consider this your warning. Listen, our intros are kind of long. That's why they're infamous, but they're fun. We talk video games and stuff, and if you screw up while you try to fast forward through it, you won't have to choose between starting over or losing somebody that you love forever. And that's not as dark as it sounds. It'll make sense when you listen to the episode. But I recommend giving the infamous intro a shot, listening to us talk about video games. The infamous intro. Maybe I'm still drunk. It's fucking Monday afternoon. I'm fine. I just suck at my job. A couple of quick notes. We have ad-free podcasts over on Patreon. If you sign up at our Patreon, you can all remember the games ad-free with timestamps. All 349 of them. It's fucking pretty well the best deal in the history of the internet. Oh, yeah, and if you want to skip the intro, go about the 30-minute mark. I'm getting pretty good at timing it out around there, but don't skip it. Just listen to it. We have merchandise. You can find it all at rememberthegamepodcast.com. Shout out to my man Joe from 4545 Creative for designing it all. I will give you all a heads up. We get our merchandise made through Teespring, Spring, whatever the fuck, and their shipping has been slower than me lately. So just be warned. I appreciate the support, but buy it now if you want it time for fucking next Christmas. Jesus fuck. Or just support us on Patreon. That's really the lifeblood of the show. We publish 4 additional podcasts over there every week. None of them have any ads in them, and you can start listening for as little as $3 a month. And not only do you get a bunch of extra podcasts, but you can write into the podcast. You can vote on the games we cover. You get to join our 1,000+ member Discord. You get instant access to hundreds upon hundreds of archive bonus shows. And most importantly, you get a shout out and get to hear me mispronounce your name like I'm about to do to a couple of these people. No, I think I'll nail these ones. A huge thank you to our newest Patreons, Jackson KB, Doubtful Brewer. I assume that has to do with the playoffs. And yeah, you are right to be doubtful. Clamps. It ends in an exclamation point. So Clamps, Adib Malik, Dracor, and Sean Hoy. Thank you all so much for the support and welcome to Remember the Game Industries. You can find all that at patreon.com/rememberthegame. There's some free episodes over there for you to try out. If you sign up for an annual subscription, you get your 12th month on the house, and we donate 5% of it to the Stollery Children's Hospital as part of our 24-hour extra live stream every winter. And I have some details coming up about that in just a moment. That's enough blowing myself. Let's blow some of you by blowing in some cartridges. It is our opening segment here on the show. I read a few comments and questions from our Patreons, usually gaming related, but not always. And we call this segment Blowing in the Cartridge.
He blows all right. He blows big time.
That's it, honey. Get into the spirit.
Let's blow. Before we get blowing, I would like to officially announce. So many of you have been asking, Adam, when's your goddamn 24-hour stream going to be this year? I have set the date. It's going to be the same weekend that Edmonton as a whole is doing their Extra Life charity streams this year. It is going to be Friday, November 7th and Saturday, November 8th. I have not yet... I was going to say, we used to do one straight 24-hour stream, but I found that, I was getting pretty surly toward the end of those streams, and the viewership obviously dies overnight because everybody goes to bed and stuff. So we just do 2 12-hour streams now. I know some of you are probably hoping I would do Saturday the 8th and Sunday the 9th because you work on Friday, but I want to leave myself the Sunday the 9th to just have a day with the fam and watch a little bit of football, and I don't want to interrupt all of your football viewing. So we're just going to go Friday the 7th and Saturday November 8th. There'll be 12 hours each, probably from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. Mountain Time both days. I'll have more information up in the coming week or so. Before the date, I have a Thanksgiving this weekend and a Thanksgiving next weekend because next weekend is Thanksgiving here in Canada, and I have 2 families to jump between. So before mid-October, I'll have you the information and stuff like that. But that's when we're doing it this year. Very excited. I think it's our 6th annual, which is fucking crazy now. And one of the things we do on those, if you donate at least $20 to the Stollery Children's Hospital, you'll be entered into some prize draws. You can win some Remember the Game merch. You can win a game of your choice. And we auction off a chance to be my guest on the show the following year. If you are the high bidder, you make a donation to the Stollery in the amount that you bid. And then you come on the show, get to pick the game and be my guest. And we talk about it. It's a good fucking time. And that's where our first comment comes in this week. Delarious? Delarious or Delorious? I think it's Delarious. Delarious said, "Good morning, Adam. I know you have a few games that you refuse to cover on Remember the Game, like Kingdom Hearts and Majora's Mask. However, you always let the largest donation during your charity event drive an episode. Could someone theoretically make the largest donation during your event, request a forbidden game, and you'd have to review it because them the rules? Or would you just take a triple secret probation and subvert your own guidelines? I'm definitely not saying this to plant a seed. Nothing nefarious here, I promise." Every year this comes up because, if you don't know, Kingdom Hearts is one of the few games that's on my short list of games I just do not want to cover on the podcast because I don't want to deal with the backlash of it. And every year people are like, yo, if I'm the high bidder, can we do Kingdom Hearts? I do my absolute best to accommodate the high bidder, but there are still a couple of games that are just not on the fly zone. Nothing good is going to come of that episode, and I don't want to get yelled at for it. So my suggestion is always, if you're interested in bidding on it during the stream and you're worried that maybe I'm not going to be willing to cover the game, there's like maybe a dozen. But if you're really worried that a game you want to play or the game you want to review is one that won't make my list, just ask me before you make your bid in the chat, and I'll give you a yay or nay. I do my absolute best to accommodate, I promise. But I also have to think about the future of the show. And for those of you that are going to be like, why aren't you going to cover Kingdom Hearts? I fucking hate it, and I don't want to deal with people yelling at me for the next 3 years because Kingdom Hearts fans are crazy. I'm sorry, but you are, and I don't want to deal with you. So just ask before you bid, and you'll be fine. Big Papa Grimace says, "Hey, Adam, when you attend a gaming convention, do you hit up the vendors first or the games? We have one coming up, and we usually browse through the vendors first before hitting up the game room. Also, to consider it rude to check the price of something online at a seller's booth." We don't really have any gaming conventions like that have the vendors and a game room. I wish we fucking had more of that kind of stuff. But no, to answer your question, normally whenever I go to any kind of convention where there are games, or, I love going to the comic expos and collecting like Ninja Turtle art and video game art, Spider-Man art for my office here. I usually do a full lap. I don't buy anything. I do it because I go with a finite budget. And so because I don't want to go into too much debt in one of those things. So I do a full lap of everything. And the only thing I buy on my first way through is if it's something that I'm like 1,000,000,000% I gotta have. If it's, argument's sake, I saw a copy of Earthbound at one of these things for like $100 or something insane, I'm buying it. But unless it's like something where it's like 1,000,000%, no doubt I'm not buying it. I don't buy anything. I do my lap, then I make another lap, and then I go shopping. As far as do I hit the vendors or a game room, assuming I was at an expo with both, I do my shopping first before everybody else scoops up everything I want. Then I'll go and play some video games. And I do not consider it rude to check the price on something online at a seller's booth. If they ever ask what I'm doing, they probably know. But I bring up price charting on my phone and I check stuff. And if they ask, I'm just checking to see if I still need this one. That way they're not offended by it, but I'm looking because you can't be expected to remember every price. And I'm not that type of person that's like, if a game books at 100, I need it for 80 or go fuck yourself. I'm willing to pay list. In fact, sometimes I'm willing to pay a little bit over list, but I'm not going to get ripped off. Well, I am, but you're not going to get me. So no, I don't consider it rude at all. And if someone does think it's rude, it's only because they're trying to pull a fast one. So fuck them. That's what I say. My left nut said, "Hey, Adam, I hope you enjoyed your trip to Toronto. Speaking of trips, how many pairs of underwear do you pack? For me, I pack one pair for each day of the trip, plus one extra pair. My girlfriend thinks this is insufficient. What are your thoughts?" I pack one pair per day. I don't even bring in extra. Like, how often are you, all due respect, my left nut, how often are you and your girlfriend shitting your pants? It's not enough to bring a pair every day plus an extra pair plus more. No, I bring a pair a day. And if I fuck up or have an emergency, inside out, son. Inside out. But I'm a pair a day guy. Tops. What an odd thing to ask. Max Renault says, hey, Adam, I've been a listener for 5 years now, and I love the show as much as I did when I discovered it. Thank you, Max. I just wanted to know, after all these years of hosting it, how do you feel? Do you see yourself doing this much longer, or do you see an end? Hopefully not anytime soon. How do you feel making gaming your job? Keep up the amazing work, man. Thank you, Max. Making gaming my job is awesome. Albeit, first world problems to the max right now. There's so many modern games I want to play that I can't, because I just finished Fire Emblem, and now I'm trying to get through Grand Theft Auto 5, and I'm trying to get through games. So I got Silk Song, and Chronos, and Sonic Racing, and Silent Hill F, and Ghost of Yotai, and all these games sitting here on my backlog, Hades 2, waiting for me, and I'm like, I don't know when I'm going to get to you, because I got to finish my other games first. So that part's awesome. As far as how much longer do I see myself doing this? I think it'll come down. I think Remember the Game will end in one of three ways. I'm fairly confident it'll end in one of three ways. It's either going to end because I retire. I have enough money and I'm like, I'm done. I'm fucking retired. And that one, I can't see that one yet. That one's still a long ways off. I'm 41. That one's a long way off in the distance. One is I retire. Two is for some reason podcasting gets canceled or gets shut down or doesn't happen anymore, which would be awful, but that could happen. Or number three would be if you all stop listening, which I have been expecting to happen for 7 years and hasn't happened yet. But I have the occasional day where I do think about, man, like it'd be nice to just have a regular job again and be able to play games when I want and play what I want. And just like it happens on occasion, but I know within a week of going back to warehousing, I would regret it. This is my dream job. I have days like everybody else where I don't want to go to work, but I love this job. So I see myself tinkering with the formula. You know, I've at times I've thought about trying to move more toward live streaming, and then I get frustrated with streaming and stuff. I don't know. But I'll be doing this until either I retire, some greater power says no, or y'all stop listening to me. There's still I could probably, if I was to sit down and write a list, there's probably at least 500 more games I want to cover. So I'm not going anywhere until you all get sick of me, which probably will happen someday. Cody Miller says, good day, Blanky. I've been recently playing Black Myth Wukong, and I've really enjoyed it. It's one of the harder games I've played, but it's incredibly rewarding. I find myself looking up a guide for some of the fights, and it got me thinking I really don't enjoy looking up guides that much anymore, because after I do, I just follow along step by step to make sure I'm doing it the right way to find all the secrets rather than just enjoy the game and find them on my own. For some reason, I feel that fear of missing out, that FOMO, if I don't get something on my first playthrough, even though New Game Plus exists and I can go back and get the stuff I missed. Wondering if you deal with this problem ever. Keep up the great work. I do. And I've tried so hard to fucking let it go because I very, very rarely get 100% completions in games that aren't like Mario platformers, but I always feel this weird FOMO fucking obsession of like, oh, there could be an audio log that I'm not even going to fully listen to over there and I don't want to miss it. And then I end up taking way longer with the game and not enjoying it as much as I should because I got to snoop every fucking nook and cranny trying to find these collectibles that I don't give a fuck about to begin with. So yes, not so much looking up a guide and then following it to get everything. I don't do that. I do occasionally look stuff up, but I don't then follow it to get 100% completion. But I do have that FOMO of missing stuff. And I've got a little better because I've had to get more efficient with my gaming time. Like I'm playing GTA 5 now, try to get ready for next week. I still have like 20 missions to go and I need to be done in 5 days. I just straight up am like, I don't have time to do everything. I want to do more with it. I don't have time. So I've just started to look at games like, hey, is this critical for a review? And if not, I'll get to it if I have a chance. And if otherwise it's getting skipped. But yeah, it's, I know that fear of missing out is real. And all you can do is start missing stuff. You'll enjoy games more. I promise. And like you said, you can go back if you want to. Yeah, that's my advice. Lindsay Lee says, I recently bought Hades 2. I've been looking. It's so funny. Sorry, Lindsay Lee. I like that name because DSP, Darkside Phil, that piece of shit I hate, has a a donator that uses a sock name of Lucy Lou, who just Lisa Lou, who just randomly pops up and gives him like $100 when he's begging for money. So that's what I thought of when I saw Lindsay Lee. No offense, you're much cooler than Lisa Lou. Lindsay Lee said, I recently bought Hades 2 and I've been looking forward to it for a long time and it does not disappoint. Just curious if you've ever played Hades. No shame if it's not your cup of tea or coffee. I did. I don't think we ever did a review of it. I was going to, but I don't think we ever did. I never beat Hades. I could get to the Hades, like to the final boss, and he'd fuck me up. But I probably put 15 hours into Hades. I thought it was awesome. And I am very interested in Hades 2. It's just stuck. Like with modern games right now, the priority list is probably Silksong, Chronos the New Dawn, Ghost of Yatai, Silent Hill F, Sonic Racing Crossworlds, Hades 2. I don't know when I'll get to it, but yes, I am interested. It looks awesome. I'm glad it's reviewing so well, and I do want to play it. Alexander Johnson says, after listening to some of your older episodes, it seems like you live in or around Edmonton. I went there on a vacation when I was in the 9th grade, and I went down the crazy tall water slide at the mall that's basically a straight down drop. You ever done it? It basically gave me an enema. Yes, I do live in Edmonton. I live about 10 minutes from West Edmonton Mall, actually. And I have done that slide. Yeah, if you don't know, the water park at West Edmonton Mall, there's these 2 slides that are basically just a straight vertical drop. And you stand in this like glass tube. Think like, in Futurama, like the cryogenic tube where like Fry gets frozen and that's basically the tube you stand in. And then it just goes like 3, 2, 1. And then the floor just disappears and you go straight down. I don't like that one very much because I don't like heights. And frankly, I think it's kind of a shit slide. But I have done it. Water park's a good time. I love the pee. And then finally, before we move on, it's letter time. Timmy the Exuberant Turtle said, after the most successful IPO in stock market history, Remember the Game Industries is preparing to enter the console market. What's your system called? What's the mascot? And how do you differentiate from other consoles? I actually gave this some thought. I couldn't come up with a good name. I have 2 that I'm toying with. One is I'm straight up stealing the Game Sphere from South Park, and I'm just going to reach out to Matt and Trey, because at this point I have so much money that I'm sure I can pay them enough to let me have the Game Sphere name. And we're going to call it the Canadian Game Sphere. Or we're going to call it the RTGI, which is a moving around of the TGRI. And if you don't know what that is, shame on you. It's Ninja Turtles. So we're going to call it probably the Game Sphere. And our mascots are going to be Molly and Millie. They're going to be our Mario and Luigi, my former beloved soul puppy and the new current pain in my ass, poops all over my house, but I love her very much, CEO puppy Millie. They'll be like the Mario and Luigi of our games. And what sets my system apart from other people is I'm going fucking retro, son. Like, it's going to be cheaper than the modern consoles. It's not going to be as graphically powerful or any of that kind of stuff. It's not going to have online. It's going to be like a couple $100. You're going to buy indie games and stuff on it. And all the games are going to come on actual cartridges that you keep on the wall. It's going to be just like on your shelf. It's going to be a modern retro console. And it's going to be fucking awesome. All I got to do is figure out how to have the biggest IPO in market history. I'll get back to that part. Yeah, I'll get there. But we're working on it. Thank you, everybody that wrote into the show, as always. That was fun. I like that segment. I like all our segments. I like doing the show. It's a good time. We got to keep the ball rolling, though, so let's switch things up and get to our Smash Hits segment, the official game show of Remember the Game Industries. Play 1, remake 1, erase 1. And a huge thank you to Classic Concentration from the NES for unknowingly providing us with the theme music for the show. The rules are simple. Every week I give our Patreons not 1, not 2, but 3 retro video games they can play when as it was released, remake one as a modern game, and the third is erased from time forever. And as always, there are no wrong answers, but there is a right one. We'll get to that in just a minute. This week we're talking Fire Emblem, so I went with 3 other Fire Emblem games. We have Fire Emblem The Sacred Stones for the GBA, Fire Emblem The Path of Radiance for the GameCube, and Fire Emblem Awakening for the Nintendo 3DS. And this was close, but 27% of you said you'd play Sacred Stones, remake Path of Radiance, and erase Fire Emblem Awakening. Interesting. So let's see what a few of you had to say here, and then I'll tell you what the right answer was. Slippery Pete. That's a great name. Says, play Sacred Stone. It's pixel perfection. Remake Path of Radiance so I can afford it and get a chance to play it. Erase Awakening because it looks like all the characters have no feet in the cutscenes and the battle sequences. If ever there was sound logic for erasing a game, that's the one. They don't look like they have feet. I can't remember if they have feet or not. I can't remember, but that's sound logic either way. And Path of Radiance is stupid expensive, but fortunately it is coming to Switch. On Nintendo Switch Online at some point. Thank the fuck. Oh my God. House of Corey said, play Path of Radiance. I follow Adam's example here, and I play the one I've never played. Well done. Remake Sacred Stones. GBA Fire Emblem games are my favorite, and Sacred Stones is just as good as the Blazing Blade to me. I love the 2D sprites, the combat animations, and the sound effects from casting Flux to the clippy clop of the Cavalier units shuffling around. And then Erase Awakening. I played this one, and it didn't hit for me. I found the aesthetic kind of bland. Faith was the better 3DS entry for me. Wow. I tried Fates, and it didn't click with me like Awakening did, but that's interesting. Supersonic 96 said, finally a vote I can participate in. I'm going to play Fire Emblem Sacred Stones because to me playing Fire Emblem on the Game Boy Advance sounds like a grand time and I haven't tried this one yet. Remake Path of Radiance because hopefully when it's remade it'll reduce the current cost of the one on the market so scalpers can get fucked. And unfortunately Erase Awakening. I hate to do it, but the hardest choices require the strongest wills. Shout out to anyone who gets that reference. Plus I sunk over 300 hours into that game and restarted it multiple times, so it's time to go and make way for other Fire Emblems I haven't played yet. That's the other time when playing... that's the other reasoning behind it. That's why I usually erase Super Mario World when it's in here, even though everyone's like, that's your favorite game of all time. I'm like, I can play it in my mind forever. So I'd rather play games I haven't played so much. That's sound logic from Supersonic. Well done. Seymour Butts says, play Awakening because it's almost perfect already. Just add feet. See, there it is. It doesn't have feet. Remake Path of Radiance. Easy choice. It's my favorite Fire Emblem, and I think it has the best story. God damn, I wish Fire Emblem games writing was as good as it used to be. And then Erase Sacred Stones. Awesome game, but it's just got tough competition here. Dude, speaking of writing, Fire Emblem Engage. We'll talk about that in a few minutes. That game, I was fucking lost in that game. We'll get there. And Mega Jim said, I'm not sure if this is a hot take, but Awakening just didn't hook me like the older Fire Emblem games. I'm going to erase it. The other two were the first games in the series I ever played, so they both hold soft spots for me. I'm going to choose to play Path of Radiance. It's well overdue, and I'll pick Sacred Stones for the remake. I'd love to see these characters in this world's monsters redesigned with 3D models. I think it would look amazing. A lot of you are erasing Awakening, which does admittedly get my panties tied a little bit up. A little bit. But at least you all had sound logic. I'm going with 15% of you. 15% voted the way I did, as did Alexander Johnson, who said play Path of Radiance because I never played it before. Remake Fire Emblem Awakening because it's the best game in the series and it's in my top 10 games of all time. And then Erase Sacred Stones. I played a little bit of it, but it never clicked with me the way the previous Fire Emblems that came before it, or the way the previous Fire Emblem that came before it did. The previous. So everyone's not writing in being like, this is the second one. The previous. Same order, different reasoning for me. I'm going to play Path of Radiance on the GameCube because I actually bought it almost 2 years ago during a Boxing Day sale. I got a good price on it. I have a physical copy sitting here on my shelf. Probably the most expensive game I own. I bought it with the intention of playing it. I couldn't wait, and I still haven't turned it on because I'm a piece of shit. So I'm going to finally play it to justify the expense. And then I'm going to remake Fire Emblem Awakening because it's the one that got me to the series. And in some ways, it's almost on the same level of Gears of War for me. It is a very important game for me. So I'm going to remake it, and I'm going to make it like Fire Emblem Three Houses, which I think is magnificent. And then I'm going to erase Sacred Stones. I basically haven't played any of these because I barely remember Awakening. It's been so long, and I haven't played the other two. And I spent too much money on Path of Radiance to not play it, and Awakening is too important to me. So Sacred Stones, I want to play you. You just drew a short straw, my stony friend. And that is going to do it. We got to move on. Thank you, everybody that wrote in to play along with me as always. What have I been playing over the last week? This is going to be fast. Grand Theft Auto 5 and Resident Evil Remake. That is a little bit of Silk Song. But that is, I'm seeing Trevor from GTA 5 in my fucking dreams right now because I'm playing that game so much to get ready for next week's 350. And then Resident Evil Remake is coming the week after that. So I've been playing that too. I played that basically my whole flight to Toronto, my whole flight home. Both games, excellent. We're on a hot fucking run of games right now. Like, what have we been covering? Like, I'm just looking to see what the last I guess Toe Jam and Earl, Panic on Funkatron, was the last game we covered that I didn't really like. That was 347. But before that was, okay, so like, Jesus, fuck, man. So Mutant League, or WCW Mayhem was 343. August 12th. That one, not great. Metal Slug 3 was awesome. Super Metroid was awesome. Mutant League Football was awesome. Final Fantasy 4 last week was awesome. Fire Emblem is awesome. GTA 5 is awesome. Resident Evil Remake is awesome. We're on a hot run of fucking games right now. But I'm ready to get GTA 5 off my goddamn plate so I can get into Resident Evil Remake. Resident Evil 3 is coming after that. Then Alan Wake. Plus, I really want to finish Silk Song. So many games. Okay, here's what's going to happen. We're going to pause here. We're going to let a sponsor in to peddle their wares so I can afford to buy all the games I want to play right now. And when we get back, that's enough wasted time. We're off to the world of Fire Emblem, the Blazing Blade. Okay, we'll be right. Remember, the game will return after these messages. That needs to be the segue. This is an ad by BetterHelp. Did you know that October 10th is World Mental Health Day? Shout out to the therapists out there helping people improve their lives day in and day out. I've talked about my experiences with therapy for years, and I'll never forget the first time talking to a therapist really clicked with me. I had quit my warehouse job, I was trying to make a go of being a comedian, and every day I woke up and I just felt like a piece of garbage. Like I was wasting my time. This whole idea was stupid. I ruined my life. I talked to a therapist and she really helped me gain the confidence to know I wasn't doing anything wrong by chasing a dream. And that if I believed in myself, if I really worked hard, nobody else's opinions mattered. It was a big deal for me. The right therapist can help you level up so fast, and BetterHelp has over 12 years of experience in matching people with the therapist for them. BetterHelp's therapists adhere to a strict code of conduct, and they're fully licensed in the U.S. You fill out a quick questionnaire to let them know what's on your mind, and they match you up with one of their over 30,000 therapists suited to your needs. And if it's not a fit, you can swap therapists anytime for no additional charge. BetterHelp has helped over 5 million people around the world. Why not give them a shot? This World Mental Health Day, we're celebrating the therapists who have helped millions of people take a step forward. If you're ready to find the right therapist for you, BetterHelp can help you start that journey. Our listeners get 10% off their first month at betterhelp.com/rememberthegame. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/rememberthegame. All right, let's get into Fire Emblem, the Blazing Blade. I know that's why you're here. As always, I like to let you nerds sound off on the game we're covering before my guest and I hug the microphone. Lots of comments I know a lot of you have been waiting very impatiently for a Fire Emblem episode. I can't read all of them, but I can read some. And let's start doing just that. Bill M said, I love this game. It was the first Fire Emblem and first tactical RPG I ever played, and it's still one of my favorites in the genre. I remember over-relying on Marcus the first time I played, and the rest of my characters were super under-leveled, so I eventually reached a point where I couldn't protect everyone with Marcus, and I had to restart the whole game. We actually talk about that exact, what's the word I'm looking for? Not pandemic. Epidemic. Whatever. That exact problem. I know the word. It's in my head. Fuck. We talk about that exact situation on this episode because it's very easy to do. I get it. Super, especially if it's your first one of these. Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious said in Super Smash Bros. Melee, I unlocked 2 strange characters called Marth and Roy. Apparently, they came from a little-known Nintendo series called Fire Emblem, a series that at the time never saw release outside of Japan. In the West, we only got to play Advance Wars. In 2003, we finally got Fire Emblem. I liked Advance Wars, but Fire Emblem was so much better. The permadeath made me connected with the characters. I love this game. I agree with every word of that because I also love Advance Wars, but I do like Fire Emblem better. But that said, I got me some time for Advance Wars. We've covered the first one. I got to cover the second one. I got some time for that. Jigsaw said, first attempted to begin the game a few years ago and it didn't click. Started it up again last week and I put 10 hours in already. The last game to do that was Pokemon trading card game after listening to your episode. Consider me a Fire Emblem connoisseur now. Hopefully this carries over to Final Fantasy Tactics because that game also gets universal praise and I have never played it. Yes, Final Fantasy Tactics, the remake drops this week and you all need to play it if you haven't because it's fucking awesome and I won't spoil anything, but I will beg you. I am on my knees, beg you. Keep multiple saves and keep rotating through. The day will come when you will be glad you did. And when you get to that point, you can fucking thank me. You're welcome. Wish someone warned me. Mo said, just Mo said, my 8th birthday, I can't do the Mo voice. I'm losing my voice. I'm sorry. My 8th birthday, I received a white GBA with a game that has my favorite Smash character, Roy, on the cover. Wait, that's not Roy. Jokes aside, my love for tactics games is purely from this title. Fire Emblem is one of my favorite franchises purely from this title. I couldn't imagine a GBA library without it. Pent is the best mage in the franchise. Oh, Mo, you're going to like this. Pent gets a full-blown reach around on this episode. It's coming. I promise. It's literally the reach around. It's coming. Legendary said the only Fire Emblem game I had growing up was the remake of Famicom version for the DS, but now that I've played this one and almost beat it, I absolutely love it just as much, if not more. I've never been good at tactical strategy games, but this one just keeps pulling me in. Also, every time I think I'm close to beating it, it pulls 20 more chapters out of the Fire Emblem clown car. You're not fucking kidding. I will say, I know there's like a bonus kind of way you can replay it after you beat the main game. I did not do that part. I'm trying to keep it vague to not spoil. If you played it, you know. I didn't do that part. I just didn't have enough time. You're right. This game just keeps fucking going. Boy, that just kept going, huh? I agreed. And insert clever pun. Said I didn't start playing the series until after they introduced the option to turn off permadeath, and playing this before the episode convinced me that permadeath is the difference between me loving and not enjoying the series. Maddening difficulty mode without permadeath is the best Fire Emblem formula for me. I like it tough to win, but without the consequences for casualties along the way. And there's no wrong way to play games. Don't let people tell you, by the way, that you play games wrong if you don't play them on hard or easy or whatever. You can suck my ass. Play your games however the fuck you want. That's it. I like it better with permadeath. But you fucking do you. Clever pun. And I didn't see a clever pun in there. Maybe I missed it. But anyways, that's enough. It's time to talk Fire Emblem. I know that's why you're here. I'm excited. You're excited. I did my best to make this audio good. It's at least listenable. Don't yell at me. It's just fucking our show's it's amateur hour. You guys know what you're getting yourself into here. I'm going to cue up some Fire Emblem music. I know that sounds a little bit off too, but it's GBA music. What are you going to do? And when it stops, my buddy Keegs and I are going to go back to November 3rd, 2003 and talk Fire Emblem for the Game Boy Advance. Enjoy the episode, everybody. Let's go. All right, joining me on a wonderful Wednesday evening, take two, because I fucked up the first one, to talk Fire Emblem, the Blazing Blade. We will not be using the Blazing Blade tag any further. It's just Fire Emblem, so I don't have to fucking deal with it. The GBA one, the first one in North America, very, very good. Is the only one of my regulars I would trust with the spear. It's my friend Keegs. You already had to answer that fucking stupid joke once, but try to organically reply to that again. Keegs, are you a spear man?
Well, I guess I'm a spear guy now because you made the joke.
Yes, it's because it's axe, sword, or spear, right? Or lance, I guess, lance. But
yeah, well, I mean, like when I used to play pretend when I was a kid, like I was always the spear guy, and my friend was the sword guy.
Well, and I mean, and at the end of the day, I'm a Donatello man, and Donatello's got a bow, which is most close to a lance or spear. And Donatello is, as everyone knows, the dominant turtle, so it's the dominant weapon. So
yeah, and Mikey has nunchucks, which isn't like a spear at all. So
no, Mikey doesn't really relate to any of these fucking people, but that's okay. How's it going? How are you? I haven't talked to you in a while.
Pretty good. I just had my birthday like a couple weeks ago, and I'm also an uncle now.
Hey,
that's pretty cool.
If I could, one of the earliest jokes I wrote was, hey, I became an uncle a few months ago. And then when people would like cheer and stuff, and I'd be like, I didn't do anything.
Yeah. Yeah, I had one of the guys at work actually said that to me, after because I was working with my brother for a bit. He come up to me, I was like up in the man basket, like way up in the air. We're like chatting stuff. He's like, "Oh yeah, by the way, congrats on being an uncle." I'm like, I literally did nothing.
Yeah, I had nothing to do with it. I kind of just fell into this role.
Yeah, I just happened to be born. Like I didn't even have to be born first. He could have been born first, and I would still end up being an uncle.
Still sweet though. Being uncles, I relish the uncle role. I feel I'm better here than I would be in the dad role. I like the uncle role.
Yeah, that's how I feel too. I'm like kind of the pseudo uncle to a bunch of my friends' kids, but now I got like actual flesh and blood uncle.
Yeah. It's sweet. You can fucking hop them up in sugar and then give them back. That's the
exactly. Well, not yet. Still a little baby.
Do it. Just mix it in with the milk and fucking. They don't fucking know.
My brother's bigger than me now. I don't think I can get away with that.
We're talking Fire Emblem, the first Fire Emblem. I'm probably will have said it in the intro that has yet to be recorded. Bit of a blooper on my part that it took 349 episodes to get to a Fire Emblem game. Considering what's that?
Is blooper the right word?
Fuck up. I don't know. Mistake. Insincere. I suck. 349 episodes to get to a Fire Emblem, which isn't right when I talk about how much I love this series. And I should have covered one earlier. The problem with Fire, and it's not a problem with the games, but the problem with trying to do a podcast about a Fire Emblem is I've only ever played, any of the ones I've played, I've only played once and I don't really remember them. So I need to be playing them again. And these are not, like, this isn't, I just beat Earthbound today and it took me 13 hours. Like, Fire Emblem is, I think I put about 30 hours into this fucking game. And that doesn't include the occasional restart when somebody dies in a fucking chapter. These
Yeah.
are this is a mouthful of fucking game, but I'll sit here right now with my limited experience on the GBA and say this might be the best game on the GBA.
Best game on the GBA. That's pretty bold claim.
Yeah, I stand. I mean,
I think the other GBA game, like the other GBA Fire Emblem, is a little bit better than this one,
right.
but this one's still pretty solid. So
Let me rewind that and say best GBA game that I have played.
yeah, you haven't played a lot of GBA games, so
No, I haven't. But I just, dude, I fucking like I don't have a ton of experience with Fire Emblem, but Awakening wasn't just my first Fire Emblem game. It was my first tactical RPG of all time.
Mhm.
And now I as I've said on the show many times, like I have become completely just smitten with the genre. And in particular the Fire Emblem games. I just like I played through this game. It was 30 hours and I was feeling the crunch because I got GTA next week that I have to get done, which is even bigger than this fucking game. And I would have instances where I would get irritated because something would go horribly wrong. And I'd be like, fuck, I do not have time to fucking do this over again. So haters can hate if they want. Thank the good Lord for save states and rewind on Nintendo Switch Online. Because when you're in a hurry, they come in pretty handy. But I'm impressed, buddy. Like, did you play this on the GBA or just Switch?
I played it on the GBA. I played it on an emulator back when it came out on the GBA though, because like my parents just wouldn't buy me the game. I'm like,
Sure.
okay, so I figured out emulation when I was a teenager. Like, you don't want to buy me games? I'll fucking get games myself. And yeah, I remember playing it just so much. Like, I tried to get back into it recently again, but like you said, it's kind of a long game, and then we'll talk about it a bit more later. But like the whole intro tutorial, like 10 chapters, like if you're already like well versed in Fire Emblem, it's kind of a boring slog.
Yeah, that was. And if I have a criticism of this game, that's it. Because I'll tell you all right now, like we're gonna get into some more of the details, and I'm not gonna criticize the game for things that come with like its era. It's the same as when we reviewed Shining Force on the Sega Genesis all those years ago. Like by today's standards, it's a little bit archaic. And playing this one, having played like Fire Emblem Three Houses is genuinely one of my favorite games of all time. Fire Emblem
Yeah.
Awakening is great. I like the genre. Like this is a little bit of a slog at times. Like there's a couple of instances in this game where you'll just run into like a dozen enemies lined up and you just kind of, there's not a lot of strategy to it. Just put someone strong at the front and mow them down, and
Yeah. The entire game's very much like an enemy phase kind of Fire Emblem, which kind of hurts it a little bit, but
and I'm not going to ding it for that, but I will agree. It's a bit fucked up when you play this game. The first like 10, I don't remember, like 10 chapters or some shit. It's like the story of Lynn like trying to save her grandpa, and I'm getting into it, and I'm meeting some characters, and I'm leveling some characters up, and I know my way around a Fire Emblem. I'm like, all right, this is fucking sick. Let's go. This is fun. And then you fucking like it makes it feel like you beat the game.
Yeah.
And I even text you and I was just like, that's it? I was like, what in the fuck? Like, that was fun, but that was like the easiest game I've ever played. And then it turns out like, oh no, there's still like another 20 chapters after that. Now the game's getting serious. And if I do have a criticism to throw at it, and it's a half criticism, it may be those 10 chapters may be the longest tutorial I've ever experienced in a video game.
Yeah.
It's like 5 hours long.
I get it, but like it also exists in the Japanese version, and they had 6 other games before it to like kind of know how Fire Emblem works. Like I get it for the American release, but when you replay the game, like because you can play like hard mode, and then there's also another mode you can play where Hector's the main character instead of Eliwood. It's like all the exact same fucking maps. There's like a couple extra bonus maps and stuff, but it's just like from his perspective instead of Eliwood's. You can skip the Lynn stuff, but then you also get hurt for that because any of the characters you would get from her story like are severely under leveled compared to if you just play those 10 chapters and level them up. Just weird shit. But I mean, like you said, it's a product of the time. Like the fact that there's so much meat on the bone on a fucking GBA game. Like this 100%. Is a pretty beefy game for GBA.
Yeah. I have 2 things to address there. Number one is you are right. Like again, not to, as everyone knows, like there's no history lessons here at Remember the Game, but like this was the first North American. That's why it's just called Fire Emblem over here. So like I guess I do understand the tutorial level because they're like, hey, they were like, hey, North Americans suck too much at Mario to give them the real Mario 2. Here's a baby Mario 2.
Yeah.
Like, North Americans are dumb. We're not going to give them Final Fantasy 2 and 3. We'll give them 4 as 2. Like, I get that, and deservedly so. We are kind of dumb over here. So I do get having all these tutorial levels in a Fire Emblem game because there's a lot. It's more than just, hey, move around on this grid and attack. There's the leveling up. There's all the different classes. There's the rock, paper, scissors system of the weapons. Plus you're adding in magic and arrows and the story. And I understand that there's a lot going on and there's a lot to teach. That said, yeah, like,
I just wish from the get go, if you could skip the Lynn story from the get go, I would be happier because then I would replay the game more. But like every time I go to play it again, I'm like downloading a new ROM or something like that and having to start from scratch. It's like, oh, I can go find a save that lets me skip it, but like I said, then you lose the levels and stuff, and it's just like, man.
Yeah, and that's what I was gonna say is I think I can safely say that like I did enjoy this game a lot, as you're about to hear. I'm gonna give it a good score. I probably will never play this one again because I don't feel like it's not the only reason, but I don't feel like dealing with the fucking that intro goes a long fucking time.
Well, as long as you fire up the same save file, you can just skip it.
I guess, but like I don't know, my saves are all over the fucking map because that's like, what was the other point I was going to make now? Oh yeah. The other point I was going to make is you brought up, and it's a great point. Like for a fucking GBA game, the amount of meat on the bone here is like, again, I'm sure somebody will fucking come into an argument with me, but like off the top of my head, the only GBA game I can think of that gives you as much bang for your buck as this is Pokemon.
Yeah. Pokemon, or maybe like the GBA ports of like the Final Fantasy games.
Sure. Like it's crazy. Because even if you were to replay
this is an original game, so I don't really count the Final Fantasy ones. It's like, yeah, that was a beefy old Super Nintendo game that they like compacted down on GBA.
Yeah. Like it's wild. You could play this game for fucking like you could easily get 100 hours out of it. 100 hours easy if you wanted to. Because one of the great things, if you've never played a Fire Emblem game, they're tactical RPGs. So, imagine like a virtual board game and you're moving your characters around on the board and the enemies are moving around and you're attacking and stuff. But you recruit different party members and there's not a lot of trees in like the story. Like there's not decisions. Do you want to go this way or this way? And it'll change the story. So the replay value doesn't come from that, but the replay value does come from, there's a lot of missable characters. Plus, you can, when a character dies, a character is dead. Like they're done. You don't get to use them anymore. And so there's a lot of replay. And like, I try my best. I guess this is the $1 million question. I'll ask you this. I do my best when I play a Fire Emblem game not to be a bitch. If somebody dies, I like to think that I'll keep it honest and be like, all right, I'm going the rest of the game without that character. I don't always do it. If it's a character that I don't have a particular attachment to or haven't put a lot of time into, I'm willing to let them go. But if I lose somebody that like I have put a lot, like I'm just gonna put my cards on the table. Like Wrath is my man. I fucking love that guy. One of my beasts.
He's so cool too. He
is. And he's like an archer, and then he's an archer.
Fucking suck in this game, and he's actually good.
Yeah, he's the only good one. Like he's an archer, and then once he like levels, like he's on a horse and he's fucking moving. And I was like, if something happens to Wrath, I'm like, no, we're restarting. That's unacceptable. Whereas Will,
I try to be honest, but if the only time I'm like, no way, fuck this game, I'm restarting, is if like I get killed off like a 3% crit chance.
Yeah.
Like, no game. You don't get to kill me on a 3% crit. That's bullshit. Only I get to do that.
Yeah, I can hear all the XCOM fans being triggered by that comment right now because if you go back and listen to my XCOM 2 episode, I'm an XCOM guy now. I now fully understand I had a 93% chance to land that attack and missed and got fucked because of it. No. And I know I had people write in and they're like, Adam, if you have a 93% chance to hit, you have a 7% chance to miss. And I'm just like, I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. As far as I'm concerned, that's a 100% chance. Fuck you. When the computer starts missing 93%, then I'll fucking listen to you. But that's not fucking happening. So yeah, if I lost a really good character, I would rewind or restart a chapter. But if I lost, I lost Will, he was a shitty archer. Once I got a hold of Wrath, I was like, I don't need you anymore. You're expendable.
he was cool. Like when he first shows up, he seems like a cool character, but like his stats are so bad.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
another thing, like in the mechanics of the game, like because you've played other Fire Emblems, so you know like the effective weapon like
yeah,
damage multiplier. So like an archer shooting a Pegasus is 3 times damage. In
yeah,
this
yeah.
game, only in the American release of this game, they nerfed all the effective weapon damage down to 2 times. So like
Oh, I didn't know that. Yeah.
the armor slayers against heavy armor guys only 2 times damage. Bows against Pegasus Knights only 2 times damage. So like when you get Will, he can't even kill like he can't even one shot a fucking Pegasus Knight because
Yeah,
he
he
doesn't have
sucks.
that 3 times damage. And it's
Yeah,
just like, well, there's no point in using him then.
and I genuinely almost felt bad because again, like I've played these games. If I lose someone good, I'm like, no, that can't happen. But Will hit the dirt, and I'm just like, you really
Yeah,
kind of suck, Will. We're gonna leave you here.
yeah. Like
Or I
Farquaad.
will admit the one loss I had that I contemplated rewinding and then I didn't, and I was a man about it and I accepted it was Urk. One of the first magic users you get, so he's pretty valuable in the early going,
Yeah.
and I lost him, and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna play this like a big boy, and I'm just gonna accept that I fucked up because it was my fault. I fucked up,
Mm.
and I'm gonna move on. So if
And
you've
that's
not played a
okay.
Fire Emblem,
Urk can absolutely die because Pent is a fucking
yeah,
beast.
like later
Holy
on in the
shit.
game, like I had Pent and I had it was an optional character. I'm going through the Canis. And
Thanos,
once I
yeah.
had a couple of good magic users, I was like, I don't need you anymore, Urk. You suck.
Yeah. Well, and
But
like also just the way the basic magic users are, like Lucius, Urk, and Canis are basically identical.
yeah,
Like
yeah.
they
And so
they have like a slight advantage on in certain things, but like for the most part, you just use them as magic user for when you want like a low resistance enemy. Any one of the 3 of them is good, and then you get Pent, and it's just like, okay, no other magic user in this game matters.
yeah,
He's the
you
best.
kill everybody. Yeah. So like yeah, like so if you've not played it, and we'll get into the story. It's actually got a decent. I don't think I liked the story as much as some diehard fans seem to, but the story
Mm.
did its job. It was fine.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
you
yeah.
literally play it.
Fire Emblem
What?
plot holes, but like they all do.
Yeah, and you play it like one chapter at a time is basically one board, and you pick a bunch of your party members. You go onto the board, and you usually your objective is either kill everybody or get to like a certain square, and then rinse and repeat. And you can recruit other people and level up your characters, and characters of different classes, and it's a really good time. But again, if you play with permadeath, if a character dies, they die, and then you have to make the decision: do you want to restart or do you want to just keep going with it? And in the early going, the restarting is not a big deal, but like as any tactical RPG fan that's listening to this knows, like the later you get into these games, like some of these boards, some of these chapters, they can go for like 45 minutes
Oh
plus.
yeah.
Like they can, and like if you've been, I'm just gonna straight up and own it. I'll just straight up admit it. Like, God bless Nintendo Switch Online and that rewind system because I hate to have cheaped out and done it, but I'm on the clock to get these games done for this podcast. And when I'm 40 minutes into a board and then I make one wrong mistake or miss one wrong hit, and it's not just that I lose a character that I like, but you always have at least one character in the game that is the whole like, hey, if this character dies, it's game over. And when I would fuck up and
He's
have
got
that
3.
happen, I was like, yeah, exactly. When that would happen, I was like, no, I do not have 40 minutes to redo this again. But
Yeah.
I will say, if I was playing this just for myself and not for the podcast, or if this had been like the game I had on my GBA when I was a kid or something like that, I would have been irritated that I just lost 40 minutes of progress, and I probably would have rage quit and turned it off and been like, fuck, this is a stupid game. But within an hour, I was coming back to try it again. And that really is one of the brilliant things about these games. And that's one of the things I love about the Fire Emblem games is while they're not necessarily the toughest video games ever made, like they don't hold your hand. Like once the tutorials are done and the cuffs are off and they've taught you the basic mechanics, they're like, go get them and be careful. Don't fuck this up. And it gets surprisingly strategic. Pardon me?
Like on the harder difficulties, they get pretty fucking tough, especially like
Oh
this
yeah.
one. Like
Yeah.
especially once you get into like Hector hard mode. But in order to play Hector hard mode, you have to beat the game 3 other times. It's like,
Which
yeah,
is
I'm not doing
never.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
it's like
no,
I'm not doing that.
I even found that's one of the things I will say about this game was and I'm trying to figure out how I want to say it. I did find maybe it was just me, but I did find there to be some slight balancing issues.
Yeah,
Like,
absolutely, there was.
and I mean, like in every tactical RPG you'll ever play, you're gonna have more powerful members and weaker members of your team, and that's
Mhm.
all well and good. But in this game, I found in particular, like some of your knights and some of your more armored guys, like near the end of the game, I got a hold of I got the list of Hawkeye, the fucking
Yeah,
giant jacked dude with the axes, and I was
yeah,
like, I was
Hawkeye's
just putting
a
him up at the
fucking
front,
beast.
and he was like, no one was touching him, and he was just walking through everybody.
Yeah. Yeah,
And
usually in like some of the other Fire Emblem games, like those pre-promotes you get, like especially if you get them early, like they're good and strong early, but like they just like hog all that EXP you need for your weaker characters, and then they kind of fall off later in the game. Like there's one character specifically that does it. Like in from the first game, his name is Jagan. Uh, Marcus is that version of him in this,
that's who
and
I was thinking of was Marcus.
Jaden falls off hard in like the original Fire Emblem. Marcus doesn't fall off hard. He's a fucking beast the whole time you have him. He's an
But
absolute unit.
but that's something the game doesn't teach. It's not a criticism necessarily, but that's something the game
Mm.
doesn't teach you. Is like, so you get a hold of this guy Marcus, and he's like on a horseback, so he can move around like crazy. He takes practically no damage. He's usually one or two shots at enemies. Like he's an absolute monster. But and so like your first, especially if you're playing this as a kid or if this is your first tactical RPG, your thought might just be like, go get him, Marcus, and the rest of us will sit here and enjoy these delicious treats. But
Mhm.
then later on in the game, you find that like I'm kind of fucked because nobody else leveled up because Marcus was and the thing about it is Marcus barely levels up when he's eating up all those enemies because like
Yeah,
you said he's getting like 5 XP per kill, whereas like I need to be getting, especially like Elliewood and Hector and Lynn, like your main character, like you need to get some of these characters leveled up so that they're strong enough to use later in the game. And I was frankly a little bit shocked that of a game with a fucking 5 hour plus tutorial in it doesn't teach you to make sure you spread your XP around.
yeah.
Uh,
They fixed that. They fixed that in the second GBA one. Like in like one of the very first maps, you meet that game's Jagan. His name's Seth. He's also an absolute fucking unit and never actually really falls off in the game. But they teach you like, hey, this guy is a fucking monster. You can use him to kill stuff, but you're not going to get EXP for your weaker units. So use them to soften somebody up, and then bring in a weaker guy to kill them, so they get the EXP.
and I guess the argument could be made that like, dude, it's no different than like Pokemon. If all you use is your starter and your starter gets to like level 80, but then you're going up against the elite floor with like a Pidgey and a fucking Rattata, and then you're like you're fine. Like fair enough. I
Yeah.
guess you should figure it out. But it's just especially when you get yourself into a bit of a pinch or you get yourself into a tough mission where you're like, fuck. Because I will say that while I didn't find the game super challenging, I did find myself in a couple of instances where I found myself in a corner and so you get a little bit of XP when you damage an enemy, but the majority, like where you really feast is when you land that final blow and kill an enemy. And so what I would try to do is set it up to where somebody like fucking Marcus will go and weaken them. And then I'd let somebody else sneak in and get the kill and feast on that sweet, sweet XP.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
but the
you eventually learn it, but like, yeah, it's kind of
yeah,
rough if you don't figure that out in the early game.
sure. And I would find myself painting myself into a corner where I was like, fuck, I have no choice. Either Marcus goes and wipes a few of these guys out or I'm restarting this chapter. So then I would send him out, but then I'd feel like a piece of shit because I wasn't leveling anybody up. But then by the end of the game, you have so many party members. And this is something a lot of people have been asking me to review Suikoden 2. And the reason I don't want to do it is because I've tried it. I really, for some reason, it's like a mental block with me, I guess. I really struggle with games where I have a massive party of characters and I don't know who to use and who to keep and who to drop and who to sit. And,
Yeah.
and I'm like, I want everyone to get their thing. And
Yeah, you get like decision paralysis.
it is. And I hate it
Yeah.
because I'm always afraid I'm going to level up the wrong characters and
Yeah,
then
I'm the
find out
same
that
way.
like, oh, the one you left on the bench was actually like the best character in the game and I didn't use
Yeah, it's
them.
like, oh no, I spent all that time leveling up Will. He still
Yeah.
fucking sucks.
Yeah, exactly. But like same as with Pokemon, and for some reason, tactical RPGs, it's not a problem for me. By about the 2/3 of the way through the game point, I really have identified like I've got about 10 that are my A squad. I've got another 7 or 8 that are kind of my B squad, and then the rest I'm like, I like you, but you're never seeing game time. Like
Yeah.
you are a scrub.
Yeah, and
And
it's nice in the later Fire Emblem games though, because you do get like places you can like grind your characters
yeah.
up in different places. But like in this one, you don't have that at all.
No, and I was going
Like
to
it's
say that.
just
Like they're
you don't have any. The only extra grinding you can do is if you do some of the like sometimes really tough to get like extra missions.
yeah, that or you can go to the arena and just leave
Yeah,
someone at the arena and let them, which I
but
do.
but that costs money because you're burning through your weapon uses, and
Yeah.
then you're having to constantly replenish weapons, and like
Yeah.
you can't
Plus,
like.
and I found I had to leave a healer back with whoever was at the arena to keep them from dying.
I mean, that's really good because the healers are notoriously hard to level up. But
Oh, it's like pulling teeth. Like
yeah,
you
but
gotta
once again,
have your
you don't have
healers.
to worry about leveling up your healer because eventually you get Pent. He just does everything the best.
Yeah, you gotta have your healers, but in the early going of the game, like
Oh
you're
yeah,
just like what's her name? Sarah, I think,
yeah,
is
yeah,
your and God bless her because she's a lifesaver, literal lifesaver, because she's your healer. But they don't ever attack. So the only way to level them up is to just heal everybody. So that I found myself, I'm curious if you did this. I found myself constantly buying I fucking buy healing wands like in bulk. And then
yeah,
just if somebody was missing 1 HP and no one needed
yep,
healing, I'm like, Sarah, go
100%.
heal them. Get
Yeah,
some XP.
exactly. I would do
Uh
that, and I would use Nils and Ninian to give her the extra turn instead of using it to like
absolutely.
kill an extra enemy. I would use
Yeah.
it just to give her an extra turn so she could get an extra heal in to get some experience.
Yeah.
And then
It
and then I finally like got her leveled up to 10 like the first time I was playing and like promoted her. Like I think I might have already got Penta that time. And like I finally got her promoted to Sage, and then I looked at her stats compared to Pent. I'm just like, oh well, she is still nowhere fucking close to him. So that
yeah.
was a waste of time.
Um on the note of the balancing though, while I do think like there's some OP characters, like I said, you get these armored characters, and unless they go up against the right enemy, they're basically untouchable. And you can just put them in the
Mhm.
front, and they can take. And like you can get yourself onto like a bridge. You like park one of your knights or somebody on a bridge where no one's hurting them, and then line up your magic users or your archers behind them and just feast. And it's well, I do think that is a little bit unbalanced, and I do think the magic at times is a little bit overpowered as well at times.
Mhm.
One thing I thought the game actually did remarkably well is, and you mentioned it, considering there aren't like random encounters, you can't just pick a spot on a map and go and fight a random fight with no stakes just for the sake of grinding for some XP. By the time I got to the end of the game, I actually was quite surprised that I was like, by starting my alpha squad and about half of my beta squad wasn't too overpowered for the final mission, but wasn't too
Yeah,
underleveled either. And I tip of my hat to the developers because they actually, considering they put a cap on how much XP you can earn, surprisingly level. Like I was pretty impressed. It's more about some character classes are overpowered as
yeah,
opposed to
yeah.
like
The
the
class
XP and
the
stuff.
class balancing is what's notoriously bad in this one.
Yeah, because the game pushes if you've never played Fire Emblem, at its basic core, there are magic users and there are archers and there are other things you can do. But at the basic core of Fire Emblem, it's a rock paper scissors system as far as melee combat goes. And there's axes, there's lances, and there's swords. And its axes are strong against lances are strong against swords are strong against axes. And so it's expecting you to use a little bit of strategy in that sense, and make sure you have the right weapon up against the right character and stuff. And as you level characters up, and then Keegs keeps mentioning promoting characters. You can't do it for everybody, but you'll find these very valuable items throughout the game that you can use on certain character classes to then, once they hit at least level 10, to then promote them to a higher class. And I'm curious, I assume you do the same, but most Fire Emblem veterans know, like, you don't promote them at level 10. You get as close to level 20 as you can.
Yeah,
Uh,
it depends on the character. There's some that like absolutely you want to just promote them right away, but yeah, for the most part, you want to try. In this one, it's harder because, like I said, there's a finite amount of experience. So like some of them, if you're pushing that level 20, like especially for some of the earlier ones, it's like you're over halfway through the game already by the time you're promoting. Thankfully, with the enemy balance, like even some of the final chapters still has unpromoted enemies, which is kind of crazy. Like on normal mode, anyways. On hard mode, like it's a lot more promotes, but like yeah, like the enemies aren't quite as strong, so you can kind of get away with it more. But
yeah, I had a couple of my guys because I try my best to because level 20 is the cap, and so the only reason we say wait till level as close to level 20 as possible is because you get your base stats up. Every time they gain a level, RPG 101, you gain some stats. The higher their stat, like so, just get their stats up before you promote them because when you promote them, they gain a bunch of stats and usually new abilities and get stronger anyway.
And reset back to level 1.
Yeah, and so then you can level them up 20 times again.
So yeah, so you can either level them from 1 to 10 and then promote, and they go back to 1, and then you can level up to 20, or you level all the way up to 20, then back to 1 and level up to 20 again. So it's like 40 levels worth of gains versus 30.
Yeah, I would try to wait, but then I was literally 3 or 4 chapters from the end of the game and still hadn't leveled a couple of people up because I was trying to get them to level 20, and I finally was like, you know what, fucking.
Yeah, at this point the game's almost done. Like
I need you promoted because like it's not just about okay, you know what? We need to get a break in here. Let's just do it right now. Let's just fucking get it out of the way because I don't have let's just do it. Otherwise my sponsors yell at me. When we get back, I'll literally pick up exactly where I left off. We'll be right back. So yeah, what I was saying is that like it just got to the point near the end of the game where I was just like, dude, if I don't level you up, I don't know if I could bring you on these last couple of missions. Because I will say, especially that last fucking mission where you're going to fight the main bad guy there, and there's all those like 6 rooms, and they keep opening up, and all these enemies keep coming out.
Oh yeah,
that room's there is a difficulty spike at the end of this fucking game. At least I found it. Like that last level gave me some fucking headaches. And it wasn't the main wizard. It was those 6 fucking doors opening up.
Yeah.
Because
that's like with lots of the Fire Emblem games. Like when you get to that final level, it's almost never the actual like final boss that's the hardest. It's just like the absolute army
of
units
they throw
that
waves
just comes at you beforehand.
And what made the final level to me tough in this game, and it was the other levels gave me trouble with this too. It was the levels where I couldn't see everything. Either the levels with fog
or I hate fog of war. I hate it so much.
Because all you can do, like there are levels in this game where you can't see what enemies are out there. And so if you've got a thief in your party,
your fucking staff.
Yeah, you can send them up ahead and they can see a whole bunch and light up. But otherwise, you got to just crawl. It can be very tedious. Because you got to crawl your party along this map because once you move, like you know, say you can move 5 spaces on your turn. Once you move five spaces, then you will fucking light up more of the level because now they're in an area where they can see more of the level, and then a bunch of enemies will appear, and now you're stuck standing there with your pants down because you can't move them out, you can't attack, and then those enemies can just come take a big fucking bite out of your ass. So you need to like crawl up, or you send out the thieves or use your torches or whatever. And that was where that last level gave me problems because they kept coming out from behind the closed fucking door.
Yeah, I'm gonna be honest. Like, I fired it up. Like, I have it on Switch Online, but like for me trying to replay it again, just to try and like get through it. Like, I was playing it on an emulator on my phone, and I put in a code to turn off Fog of War because I'm like, I'm not fighting against the Fog of War. I don't like it.
But that's the catch-22 though. Is I feel like for 20 some levels of the game, it's either borderline too easy because you can see where everybody is, or frustratingly difficult because of the fog.
Yeah, because you know, like either fog or like some other like weird gimmick that like the snow and the rain, they don't make it hard, they just make it tedious. Because
you can move like 2 spaces.
Like, you can move 2 spaces instead of your normal like 5. It's like, okay, so it's just going to take me twice as long because the maps are still huge. Like, they added snow to slow everything down, but now like the map is still fucking huge, and it's like, okay, well, it's still gonna just take forever, I guess.
Yeah. Oh, that fucking annoys me.
Like there's good gimmicks. Like there's the one where like it makes all the magic not work. I'm like, that's a good one. Like I was getting a little too comfortable having Pent just destroy everything, and now I don't get to do that. I have to tweak my strategy a little bit. Like,
and to be clear, I'm not saying the fog is like necessarily like a bad part of the game. It's just a massive difficulty spike. Oh
Yeah,
my god.
it's just annoying, and especially like replaying the game. I'm like, nah, I don't want to fucking deal with it.
Yeah. Uh, I'll ask you this because I mean, I know everyone's like, I must have gotten a dozen messages being like, "Who are your favorite party members?" So, uh, I got to be honest because I want to talk about the story too, which we'll get to after we talk about this. I have to say, none of the main three. I found Ellenwood to be the most useful of the main three, but I didn't
Oh wow,
particularly care for any of them. I
yeah,
used them because I had to,
yeah.
but
I really liked Lynn like when I first played it, because like it was also just like kind of different at the time to have like a female protagonist. Like really,
oh,
the only
sorry,
other one around.
I want to clarify. Like I'm talking combat. Like I like Lynn the character. I just mean like in battle. In battle.
Yeah, in battle she's good in her chapters, but then
Yes.
like when you're playing an Elwood story, she like falls off hard. Like
Yeah.
she's not quite strong enough to do the whole glass cannon thing, and then the fact that she's like restricted to just one range, and then when she finally promotes, she gets a bow, which as we've already discussed, fucking suck, except for
Yeah.
Wrath. Like
Yeah.
it's just kind of it's like, oh, cool. So she got a second range, but then when she's using that second range, she loses her first range, where most of your really strong units have that, like using like a javelin or a spear or like a hand axe
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
be able
Something
to
they can
do
throw.
one
Yeah.
and two, or magic that's one and two.
Yeah.
But
So for people asking, I will say personally, Sane actually turned out like one of the guys you get at the very beginning of the game actually turned out to just be one of my like one of my right hand men. Like I used him all the time, leveled him up. He was level 20 after being promoted. One of my aces. He was a gem.
nice.
I've already said I if you've played this game and don't like Wrath, I don't understand you because
Mm,
he is almost like the Raphael of the team. Like he wears a red bandana. He's kind of a badass, kind of a loner, and he's just a fucking hoss of a character, just a hoss. And I have to give a shout out to Raven. That
yeah,
guy, I when I first recruited him, I just thought like, it's just another guy with a sword. I have like 300 of them. And by
I
the
think
end of
you
the
texted
game,
me about him too.
yeah. By the end of the game, Raven became my like, dude, go in there and kill those three. And Raven be like, okay, Skip. He'd fucking just fly in there and wipe a couple of people out and come flying back. And I was like, I got a lot of time for you, son. I would say those were probably my like Sane, Raven, Wrath. They were and then that Hawkeye guy near the end was a fucking
Yeah.
beast. And then like you mentioned, Pent is
Yeah,
overpowered.
yeah. You texted me. You're like, I had to restart Raven's mission twice to get him, so he better not suck. I was
Yeah,
like, yo, he's
yeah,
fucking good.
because
Like,
it's
unless you get
wild.
really screwed on level ups, he fucking goes.
It's crazy, and that's where like the again, if you had this was like your game as a kid, dude. The replay value in this, because I'm looking at the list of characters you can recruit right now, and I missed like half a dozen of these guys.
Mhm. Yeah, a bunch of them are really hard. Like, you absolutely need to have either like a guide and some luck to get like some of these extra characters and some of the like the extra missions that you can unlock.
Yeah,
It's like really fucking difficult where like it's like, man, the rest of the game isn't nearly this difficult, and like a couple of them are like you have like to be like exactly precise in order to get some of these extras.
yeah. You need to take the right, like you might have to, and you can talk to that old lady that like tells your fortune, and she'll give you like some tips. She'll be like, "Oh, there's a green haired mage in there, talk to them. Maybe they'll join your cause," for example. But like you'll go into a level and then you need to figure out who the character is that you can recruit. And then not only do you need to figure out who it is, but you need to figure out who needs to talk to that character, because sometimes a specific character has to talk to them
Mm.
to fucking recruit them. Sometimes you only have a finite number of turns. Like I did get the second thief, Legault, the
Legal, yeah,
yeah, he like steals chests and then he's running out of this
yeah.
castle, and you need to
He's
cut him
one of the
off before he
hardest ones
leaves.
to get. Like,
What's
you
that?
have to like he's one of the hardest ones to get. You have to like fucking beeline to him to be
Yeah,
able to get to him before he runs away. Like, it's like pretty much only Marcus that can catch him, like, or like one of your other horses, like.
yeah, it's pretty
And he's
sick.
got
Like
that membership card too to get the discounts at the shop. So it's like
yeah,
he's a good character, and like that discount is huge when you get him.
yeah, I felt bad because Matthew had been a loyal thief for me, And then once I got a hold of Legault, I was like, sorry, Matthew, you're expendable now, sir.
Yeah.
Because I don't need two thieves, because thieves are pretty useless other than, like, they're not.
Yeah, they got better in later games. They could actually like do decent stuff in combat, but yeah, they're pretty much like, yeah, they have a sword. You probably don't want to fight with them though.
No, they're treasure hunters, yeah.
Yeah.
But for those asking, because I've been getting DM'd that a lot, so I felt the need to say those were probably my personal. And then I had a bit of a soft spot for Wallace just because he's a big bald guy in armor that I would put at the front.
Did you do any of the support conversations with like him and the other characters?
I did, yeah, a couple, yeah.
He's fucking hilarious.
Yeah. And that's something else this game does that's really cool that other Fire Emblem games do as well. I feel personally that it's implemented better in future games.
Oh, yeah, it's absolutely awful in this. But before we get into it, though, I should say my favorite.
Yeah. Who's your aces?
So in case anybody couldn't tell already, Pent, dude's a machine. He's like one of the best mages in the entire series, as far as I'm concerned. He's just an absolute unit. Like, I love him. I'm also a big fan of Guy.
Which one was that?
He's the Myrmidon.
I'm just flipping through the roster here. Oh, I don't think did I get that guy?
Yeah,
maybe I just never used him. I don't recognize that guy.
He's the same as Lynn. He's the glass cannon, and I found that like every one of my playthroughs, he was just better because like he gets a bunch of extra bonuses to crit rate that like Lynn doesn't get when he promotes into Sword Master. So I found him pretty good. I liked him, and I also like Heath was another one of my favorites. The Wyvern Rider.
See, that's funny. I wanted to bring Heath up. So that the second guy you just mentioned there, if I got him, I just may have never used him because he doesn't look familiar to me. Heath, coolest hair in the game. Green hair with the white spike in it. Awesome. Guy rides a fucking dragon. He's pretty awesome. Yep. I did everything under the sun to make that man useful. And every fucking time I try, you know what I only used him for was rescuing party members and getting them out of harm's way and bringing them back. Because every fucking time I tried to use him for anything, he died. Every fucking time. And I was like, buddy, you have a great name. You ride a dragon. You have awesome hair. But you are a bitch. I could not make that fucking man work for me to save my fucking life. And I wanted to. Because other than that, all I had was that shitty Pegasus rider you get early, and she sucks.
Did you get any other Pegasus riders?
I did get the one other one, yeah. Fiora. And she was actually kind of a beast. But yeah, Heath, I thought Heath was like the coolest character that I just could not figure out how to use. Like, he just kept dying.
Yeah, he's just a little soft in the defense. I find some units that you like think would be like pretty defensive are just like not.
But that's one of the great things about the strategy in this game as well. Is like we've talked a lot about the combat, but also there's like terrain wherever you're standing. Like if you're standing in different areas, you might move slower, but you get defense boosts and stuff like that. It's all the classics. But another thing you can do is pick up another character, and then you'll have them on your character, and then they can't do anything, but you can move around. And that was where I did find Heath handy, is if one of my characters happened to venture too far ahead and maybe trip some fog or something and get themselves in over their heads where they're going to die, Heath would swoop in, grab them, and carry them back to my healers who are at the back of the party. And that was where, like, I usually brought him on missions just for that because it was so handy.
Especially being able to fly, like, it's him as a rescuer is super handy.
Yeah. Surprisingly deep systems in this game. Like for an older game, there's a lot of strategy in this game. Are those basically
and then, like I like some of the same ones you'd like. I also fan of Raven, fan of Hawkeye. Wallace, I didn't like him like in battle as much. Like I said, I liked his supports. My big brick shit house. I built up Oswin.
Which one is Oswin? I'm flipping through here now. There's a lot of fucking characters in this fucking game.
He's one of Hector's guys, I think.
I know that name, but I'm trying to find him on here now. Oswin. Oh yeah. Oswin. Yeah. I used Oswin a lot as well. Yeah. He was a hoss.
He ended up just always getting better growth rates for me than Wallace. So especially because like Wallace is the one you have to promote right away when you do the tutorial.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
and then one other thing with Kent and Sane, like your first two horse guys that you get.
Yeah.
Every other time I've played this game, like Sane always falls off hard on his gross for me really early, and Kent ends up being the powerhouse. And that file on my emulator on my phone, Sane is already like an absolute unit. He's the same level as Kent, but every single one of his stats is higher. I'm just
Yeah.
like, fuck yeah, he finally gets his time in the sun.
I wanted to promote them both, but I didn't have enough of the items.
Mm.
So I just was like saying you have better hair. But like I liked
He's
them
also
both.
hilarious.
Yeah, he is. I like those two together. I wanted to quickly shout out Harkin too. You get him like right near the end of the
Oh
game,
yeah, yeah. Harkin's also a
but
beast.
dude, that guy could do like 4 attacks with his fucking sword. He was
Yeah,
just
yeah.
he
The
would kill
brave
everyone
sword.
before they could
Yeah,
get their hands on him. Like,
yeah. I
yeah.
remember when he first showed up, the brave sword. He's just like 4 attacks. I was like 4 attacks. Are you
I know. It's
fucking
like I
kidding
never
me?
had I
Holy
never had a
shit!
move that would do 4. This is insane. Let's go fuck some
Yeah,
shit up.
but like nobody else can use those weapons because they're so heavy, and he's just like, yeah, no big deal. Boom, 4 attacks. Fuck you up.
So it's, I mean, we could talk about the characters for days. There's a
Oh yeah,
lot of fucking playable characters in this game. So you just, and that's where like again, and if you've never played this game and us talking like me talking about that tutorial in particular, I don't want to scare anybody off. Like the first time you play the game, the tutorial is worth your time, especially if it's
yeah,
your first Fire Emblem. It's worth your time.
yeah.
It's
Plus,
just
there's at least one arena too. So if it's not your first time, you can go in there and just like grind up some of your characters early when everything's easy to just
yeah.
like get that boost later on.
And I feel like it's worth it the first time because it does like there is a story like between each chapter, which is like because the game gives you the opportunity to save after each chapter. I think there's like 30 chapters or something, and then there's
Yeah.
some optional stuff. Between each chapter, it shows where the characters are off to next on this giant map, and then usually you get a couple of minutes of like dialogue cutscenes where it's like one character talking to another character and stuff like that. And I wanted to take a minute to. We are going to spoil some stuff. Warning you all right now. I would have warned you in the intro. We are going to spoil some stuff. Uh, it's not that I thought the story was bad because that first 10 chapters is basically Lynn trying to save her grandpa, and
Mm.
then the last 20 chapters, shit gets fucking crazy with the dragons and fucking.
But it doesn't even get crazy for the first, like at the start too. It's still pretty like low stakes with
Yeah,
Elwood.
it
He's
is.
supposed to find his dad
Um,
too.
I think this is just a personal preference as opposed to like a dig at the game, but I will say a little wordy for my tastes. Not awful, but I just got to like there were a couple of those fucking skits or whatever you want to call them, cutscenes, dialogue
Yeah.
scenes between the chapters where I was like, boy, that just kept going, huh? Like it fucking they keep talking. And there was a couple
Yeah.
where again, it's not that I thought the story was bad, but I didn't find myself as invested in it as some listeners apparently have.
Yeah.
So where were you? Did you like? Did you? Yeah.
Yeah, I do. Like you said, like the main story itself is kind of like there and bare bones, but that's just kind of by design of just how Fire Emblem works because of the permadeath. You can't
Yeah.
really have any side characters super involved in any like important story moments because they might just die
Yeah.
beforehand, and
That's
then it's like,
that's a
well,
good point.
this whole
Yeah.
thing hinges on it. So that's why they're important in the story, like when they first pop up usually, but like that's why I like the fact that they have the 3 lords in it. Like that's what
Right.
makes the story really good. Not the story itself, the fact that you have the perspective of Lynn, Elwood, and Hector, and they're able to constantly talk with each other and bounce the story between them, and you really feel like you get to know them a lot better than any of the other Fire Emblem games where there's just one lord, and it's usually just the story progress is just like exposition or them talking to some NPC and getting the story with that. They're not having those cool main story beats with the people in their army. You have all the support convos for that, but this one was
I
nice that it just feels like character development is happening in the main story as well, and also you have the supports.
Yeah, I'll agree with that. I think part of my, for lack of better word, issue, because it's not like I'm gonna ding the game for it, but I guess like where the story just I kinda checked out was just especially once you get through that first 10 chapters and then shit really opens up, they maybe it's just me and I wasn't paying that much attention, but like I admittedly a lot of the time I was playing this game at like 6, 7 in the morning right after I woke up, so maybe I just wasn't awake enough and dialed in. But like, I felt like they were throwing a lot of fucking names and a lot of countries or regions or whatever the
Yeah,
fuck's at me, and sometimes it was hard for me to remember. Like, okay, so whose dad is like? Who are we going to save now? Who are we trying to get to?
yeah. I feel like there's a lot of E names in this game, of like
Yeah.
important E names in there, and I got a lot of them mixed up a lot.
Once they just get to the point where the story is primarily just about this fucking bad dude trying to bring dragons back and try to suck up everyone's essences and all that stuff, plus all the like Nils and Ninian, or was that her name? Ninian?
Yeah, Ninian.
Like that kind of stuff. Then I got a little like where this bad guy clearly needs them to do something and you're not quite sure what. I found
Mhm.
that more interesting. And then the whole plot twist with I know I said there'd be spoilers, but I'm going to keep it loosely vague so that people that have played know what I'm talking about. But if you haven't, I won't ruin anything. When Ellenwood kills somebody,
Yeah.
kind of
Holy fuck.
accidentally,
Oh man, like my jaw dropped when that happened.
I
That's all I'll say about that.
genuinely shocked,
Yeah,
shocked by that. I did not see
yeah,
that coming. That, I don't think it's an exaggeration to say that like that kind of hit like a certain death in a certain Final Fantasy VII. Kind of.
yeah.
Where I just was like, holy fuck, are
Yeah,
you kidding me?
I'd say it's up there with that personally.
Yeah. Really well. And like, and that's all done just through sprite art.
Yeah, there's a couple like really, really emotional parts in this game that just kind of like came out of nowhere that I was just like, yo, what, why,
Yeah. I
like
yeah.
on the when you go onto the pirate ship, and
Yeah.
Lynn and Hector, like Hector approaches Lynn and is just like he's looking for Elwood, and then like they just start talking, and she's like, I fucking hate the bandits. Like they killed my family. They didn't just like kill my family. Like it was bad, and like she goes into it, and it's just like holy shit. And then like Hector like puts down his walls and like confides in Lynn about like his family, and it's just like
Yeah.
what the like holy shit. And like how is this such a well done like nuanced take on like dealing with your emotions in this like weird little GBA game.
Yeah. There are points in this game where I feel the story gets a little bit too long-winded and I'm like, okay, fuck, I get it. Let's go. Fuck it. But then there are points where I agree. I was frankly a little bit shocked that considering you're literally like there aren't any cutscenes, like there aren't any animated cutscenes. They're telling this entire story through just like sprite artwork and literal like comic like blub like I don't know dialogue bubbles like in a comic
Yeah.
book like and they tell some there are a couple of moments where I was just like, well, fuck. All right, I'm invested. And I will give it credit. By the time we got to the last level and we were going into that last level, and I can't I hate that I'm drawing a blank on the name of that like evil wizard, the main bad guy there.
Nurgle.
Yeah. By the time we get to
Because
that
it's a
last level,
stupid name.
it is a stupid name.
It's
But
a
by the time
stupid
we
name, and
got
he's
there,
a
I was
stupid
like,
guy.
I'm ready to kill this fucking guy. I was like,
Yeah.
well done, game. You did it. Cause I'm gonna put my cards on the table, man. Sometimes when I'm playing a really long game for this podcast and I'm feeling the pinch because I know I have a lot of other games to get to and stuff. And I know other game reviewers have said the same. It's you don't enjoy a game the same way when you're feeling like, come on, we gotta go. Let's fuck go.
Yeah.
But I will give this game credit. When we got to that last level and I had a chance to square off with him, I was just like, no. I fucking put 30 hours of my life into this. I'm ready to fucking kill you. Like
Yeah.
and it was a lot of it was that fucking twist. And it was the way that the character died and Ellenwood was fucking devastated. And then that guy just laughed at him and mocked him like, you fucking idiot. And I
Yeah.
was like, are you fucking kidding me? All this time and you just set me up to do that? You're fucking done, bud. You're
Yeah.
fucking done.
And
Oh
then
my
this,
God.
and then this game for me, it had two bad guys that were like that, where I'm just like, you are a piece of shit. You gotta go. Like I am so looking forward to getting rid of you. The other one was Sonia, because her whole story beat with Nino, that the other mage they get, the green haired
Yeah.
one.
Yeah.
Like yeah, like. And there's another crazy emotional thing is just like she got adopted into the evil family, and then Sonia just like, nope, I fucking hated you from the moment I
Yeah.
met you. Like,
She's a
just
bitch.
tears into this poor little girl, and it's just like, yo, fuck this bitch.
Yeah, she's fucking brutal. And then I will say too, like I guess the third. In that first 10 chapters you play, that fucking like when I guess minor spoiler, but like when Lynn's grandpa is just getting poisoned, and you're reading these fucking dialogues while you're playing, and you're like, what the fuck is this? What the fuck? Let's go. Let's fucking get him. We gotta go save this old man. He's gonna get poisoned or something. Let's go. Because like, well, I didn't feel a particular connection to Lynn, Elwood, or Hector. Like they were all fine. I didn't feel a particular. I felt more of a connection to Ninian and Nils than I did those three. But I was like, man, I've been on this like 30-hour adventure with these three dipshits. I kind of want to help them get to the end now. Like, I loved it. I really, really enjoyed this game. Like I there's probably more layers to the strategy and stuff, but I knew going in, I would have been surprised if I had gone into this game and not enjoyed it, because I love the genre. I do like the Fire Emblem games that I have played. I keep saying it's one of my goals. I have like 3 more laying around the house to play. I just haven't got around to it yet, because not to even mention fucking 3 houses, which I still want to do playthroughs of the other houses, but I don't know when I'll ever find 80 hours to fucking do that.
Yeah, exactly. I'm the same way. It's like, man, when the fuck am I going to do these other routes? Plus all the DLC, which apparently the DLC is like 20, 30 hours in of itself. It's like,
it adds a 4th house, and it's like when?
There's already 4 different fucking paths in the main game. I'm just like, man, I know. What the fuck?
I gotta say, man, like I said it off the top, but like I started with Awakening, and I've played a few of them now, and it's blossomed into an absolute. It's probably my 3 favorite genres now. Like I love platformers. I love Metroidvanias, and I really love tactical RPGs. And I thought I loved this game, and I did. For those asking, like, yo, I've never played a Fire Emblem. Is this where I should start?
Yeah, I'd say so.
Yeah,
it's where a lot of North Americans got started.
I mean, you're right. I started with Awakening, and I do think Awakening was kind of the one that went kind of. I feel like from a popularity standpoint over here, it kind of took it to the next level.
Yeah,
like
100%.
That was a big
Awakening is what brought it into the mainstream. It was still pretty niche up until that point. Awakening absolutely brought it into the mainstream. Like the newest one, like got to end the direct. Like you asked me like 5 years ago, 10 years ago, if I ever thought a Fire Emblem game would be that important at like a Nintendo Direct. Never.
Agreed. And, like when you think of Nintendo, here we are. You got the Marios, the Zeldas, the Donkey Kongs, the Pokemons, and like Fire Emblem has become a fucking serious player for them.
Yeah,
now.
Like you go to a Comic-Con, there's shitloads of Fire Emblem cosplay all over the place now. Like I used to, like when I started going to cons in like the early 2010s, like I would have to hunt for Fire Emblem cosplayers. I'd like see someone from across the hall, like run up, like, oh, Fire Emblem, can I take your picture? And now it's just like the only time you can't see a Fire Emblem person is if you close your eyes.
And I would be remiss if I didn't say that once you start playing these games and you really get into them, the overabundance of Fire Emblem characters in Smash won't irritate you as much. Because before I knew who they were, I was like, the fuck, it's another stupid sword guy. I don't care. But now they don't bother me so much.
Yeah. I will say with Smash, though, it is weird that they put Marth and Roy in the game, and then the first game we got here to play Fire Emblem was about Roy's dad.
Yeah. Agreed. Yeah, agreed. It's not a bad place to start. It is technically the first one in North America. I mean, I will say Awakening could be a good entry point as well, because that's the one that turned me on to this whole genre. The only caveat to Awakening is it's not quite as available because it's on the 3DS, and that's 3DS. Dead now. But if you can buy one, you can buy it for like $40, pretty cheap.
Yeah. I'd say, especially since this is on the Switch Online, like I think it's a great place to start. It's like the most accessible one. The very first one like is on there as well, or it's not on Switch Online. I think you had to buy it. If you have Japanese Switch Online, it's on there.
Yeah, I may be mistaken. I want to say that they fucking released those ones and then took them down in classic Nintendo style. I may be wrong on that, but. Because Nintendo fucking, how do you want to get? I don't know. I don't know why Nintendo is the way they are. We all know how they are. They're fucking. You know what Nintendo is? Nintendo is that fucking friend where you're like half the time you're like, dude, that guy's a fucking beauty, man. I like that guy. Let's go for a beer. And then half the time you're just like, the fuck is that guy's problem? Yeah, like that's Nintendo. Like it's just I don't know why they do there. I loved it. I really, really liked it. I won't say it's my favorite Fire Emblem, but I did really
Yeah.
like it. The series is still batting. Well, no, I can't say it's batting 1,000 for me because I didn't really care for Fire Emblem Engage on the Switch.
Yeah,
I
the story in Engage is kind of like junk, and it really suffers from the problem of just like you get new characters and you just put them in your party and drop the old ones.
yeah,
But
yeah,
the gameplay in it is pretty solid, I
yeah.
think.
I need to
And
give it another chance.
I really like how the rings like mix up like your party building.
Yeah,
But
I need to
it
give that one
is
another chance.
it's its own thing. I'm looking forward to the next one to kind of go back towards more
Same.
like the Three Houses style. Like
Yeah, same here. Yeah.
Engage was great, it was fun, but it's not like the next great Fire Emblem like I kind of was hoping it was going to be.
Exact. Yeah, same here. Especially following Three Houses, which
Yeah, that's
Three
a hard
Houses is a
follow up.
masterpiece. So,
I
good
mean, they
game
did
though.
follow it up with the Dynasty Warrior style one, like Three Hopes. That game's pretty fun too.
Yeah, yeah.
If you like those
Yeah.
kinds of games.
Good game. I recommend it. I quite enjoyed it. Like I said, I know at the beginning of the episode I was like probably my favorite GBA game. I will. Oh man, I've just been thinking about that kind of in the back of my mind because I haven't played a ton of GBA. But I am just like in the back of my mind, I'm like, is it? And the only like Metroid Fusion is there. Advance Wars is there. So before anyone writes in and they're like, "How is that your favorite GBA game?" I'll
Yeah.
just say that it's one of my favorite GBA
Yeah, there you
games.
go.
I'll just go there because I don't want to deal with the fucking fallout. We got to score this thing. There's 30 chapters in the base game. Let's just go that. That's
Okay.
easy.
I was gonna say
Uh,
there's 37 playable characters, I think, if I can do the math right.
yeah, I was gonna do that. And I was like, I don't want to count them. Go 30 because it's easier for me to translate.
All right.
Go 30. The
Translate
floor
to
is
what?
yours. Out of
What
30,
are you translating the score to?
a percentage.
Oh.
Because if I don't, probably, yeah, just go ahead. What would you give it out of 30? Go ahead.
Out of 30, I'll give it like a 23.
All right.
It was like when I first played it, like I said, like it was amazing. I loved it. Like it was like one of my favorite games. I played it so much. But like nothing against the game, just Fire Emblem's gotten so much better since. Like
Yeah.
even just like I said, the next game in the series, like I don't like. Well, I mean, we could talk about that if we ever talk about that one. But like, it's nothing against this game. It's a great game. It's just Fire Emblem has just gotten so good since that for me personally, it was kind of hard to try and replay this one. But like we said, the characters are really awesome, and that's kind of uh, what has kept me back into my replay. So I'll give it a 23.
Yeah, that's what
7
I'm
whole
kind of.
points gone because of Fog of War. Let's just say that then.
Yeah,
The
that's where
Fog
I'm
of
kind of
War.
torn. That's where I'm stuck because I'm like, I did really like it, but you're right. It is. I'm like, it is a little basic bitch compared to more modern ones, but then I'm like, is that
Yeah.
worth? Do I think I'm gonna give it 20? I'll go 25. I really like it. I just
Hmm.
I really like these. I really like these games. It's so funny because I don't want them to be shorter because they tell the story and they play the way they do because of the length of them. But I
Yeah.
wish they were shorter so I had more time to enjoy more of them.
Yeah. Same. I
It's
mean,
and you know what?
these ones were short. Like they were shorter until Three Houses. It's just Three Houses
Oh,
added the whole academy thing and just
Three
tacked an extra
Houses was
80 hours
insane
onto the
though.
game. Like,
That I mean that should say what there is to be said about this game. Like if one of your biggest issues with a game is you're like, man, I wish they were shorter so I could play more of them, then it's probably a pretty good fucking game. And this is. I like it. Fire Emblem. I promise you, Fire Emblem fans listening to this, it will not be another 349 weeks before we get to another Fire Emblem. I promise. That said, it will probably be a while
348.
because I don't have time to fucking play another one of these right now because they're too fucking long. Keegs, thanks for doing this as always. Good chatting with you. I asked you off the top and you were like, I don't think so, but I always give the opportunity to my guests. Is you have anything to plug or you don't want to plug nothing?
Yeah, there's this pretty cool podcast I listen to. Is Remember the Game. If you haven't listened to it, you should give it a listen.
No, that show sucks. I heard that guy fucking serves poison milk to school children, and his audio quality's not good, and his editing's not good, and he doesn't like Sonic Adventure, and he's a fucking
His
Nazi.
voice
I've been told
isn't good.
I
His
did get
eyes
called a
aren't
Nazi
good.
once. So
Only once?
yeah, only once.
Only once
Somebody
in
did.
7 years is pretty fucking good.
I agree, but I still was kind of like, I was still a little aghast by that. I was like, of all the things you're gonna, do I really give off Nazi vibes? Like, I do give off annoying piece of shit, doesn't know what he's talking about, loudmouth vibes, but Nazi? All right, whatever. Anyway.
Well, we just got too political now, so time to wrap it up.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. Good job, buddy. Thanks for doing this.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks for having me.
And that is going to do it for this week's episode. Keegs, thank you so much for giving me a call and talking some Fire Emblem. And every single one of you nerds that listen to this, whether it was your first Remember the Game or your 349th or some other number, thank you. Thank you for the support. I appreciate it. I know there's a lot of retro gaming shows out there, and you rolled the dice on us, and that's what makes you awesome. I appreciate that so much. If you didn't hate the show, leave us a good review. I'm not sure why, but I'm supposed to ask for them. Apparently, they help us in the old algorithm, and they just make me feel good about myself when I'm feeling ugly. So I appreciate those. And you leave good reviews. If you didn't like the show, I mean, how about instead of leaving a bad review, just leave us the fuck alone? I don't know. Or leave a bad review. Do whatever the fuck. It's your life. Live your life. I don't fucking care. Do whatever you want. But the good reviews are great. Follow us on the social medias. I don't plug that often. I'm on Twitter and Instagram at Member the Game, not Remember, because someone already fucking had it. Member the Game. You can find us. Our group on Facebook is creeping up on 1,000 people now, which is crazy. Remember the Game on Facebook, and we have a subreddit that's over 1,000 people. I think it's like 1,200 now. Look for Remember the Game over there as well. I mean, most of the time the posts are just people asking if we remember a game, like they don't actually know about the podcast. But that's what I get for picking this stupid name. We'd still like to see you over there. Occasionally we talk about the podcast. What else do I have to plug? Oh yeah, the Patreon. That would be really cool. If you want to sign up, I'll give you lots of podcasts in exchange for a couple of dollars. And don't forget, November 7th and 8th. I'll double check the number, but I'm fairly confident it's our 6th annual. It's either our 5th or 6th. 24-hour streams to raise money for the Stollery Children's Hospital. You can donate $20 or more. You'll be entered into draws for prizes, and we'll be auctioning off a chance to be my guest on Remember the Game in the new year, all right? Good enough. I'm going to thank some patrons and get out of here so I can get back to playing Grand Theft Auto 5, which I have to. I'm desperately scrambling to try to finish in time to talk about it next week. That's the goal. Not Grand Theft Auto Online. I'm not touching that. We're just talking about the story of GTA 5. That's going to be the big Remember the Game 350. I will say, if there's a slight chance I don't have the episode ready in time for October 8th, Wednesday, October 8th. If it's not, it'll go live whatever day that week or within the next 7 days after that it's done. I won't wait till the following Wednesday, but I'm shooting my absolute hardest to have it ready for Wednesday, October 8th. And then after that, we got some scary games to wrap up the month of October with Resident Evil Remake, Resident Evil 3, and Alan Wake, which won our scary game Patreon poll. Should be beauty. I'm going to thank some patrons and leave. Thanks for listening, everybody. Talk to you on the next one. So long. Cheers. Goodbye. Au revoir. Remember the Game is brought to you by our Patreons. I couldn't puke up all the content I churn out every week without all of your support. The following people are the senior executive vice president level or higher at patreon.com/remember the game, and as such, I'm contractually obligated to thank them all by saying their names as quickly as possible. I'm losing my voice, so hopefully it holds up for about 90 seconds to 2 minutes here. We're going to go in order from newest to oldest this week. A huge thank you to Remember the Game Hall of Famer Slick Motherfucking Rick, Athena, Chris Nethercutt, Amanda Hugginkiss, the $100 Kid Ted Michaels, King Tiki Tiki, George Swan, Redline Arrow Drones, Jonathan Breyer, Lindsay Lee, Raph is my favorite turtle, not Donnie, Handsome Mayor Major Anal. Handsome Major Angus McZongo Esquire, Tyler Patchell, Manjoid the Reploid, Siegfried, Landon Turquoise, the okayest of muffins, Frank Preeves, Profound Spooky Dookie, Just James, Exotic Chaotic, Trooper Galactus, Cannon Fodder Games, Devin Collins, Shane's World, Mikey Hag, Botfucker, Steaming Woolly, Fancy Store-Bought Dirt. I can't do mode today, I'm sorry. Game Boy Gannon, Jeff Leopard, Horror Wars Podcast, Akiris Network, Jinxie425, Legendary, Thunder Leaps, Topher Love, Captain Asbury Juice, Erotic Onion Ring, Flater Flav, Lord Salazar, Travis Sanders, MacGyver88, The Grim Patron, The Only Sean, Savage Boosh, Super Saiyan Safariath, Dazer 8, Daniel Cook, Ocarina of Tim Rocks, Conebread, Brother Retro, VOS Rager, Wilco McCracken, Justin Blair, Diablo Spartan, Monk Cal, David Schroeder, Texas. Nice. Get Generic at 8238, Darbles, Eric Hopewell, Spider Cat, Alex McIntyre, Scotty McGee, Toby OP, Thrill Ho, Daddy Secret Little Chubby, Justin Tate, Ryan Whitcomb, Ida Yellow, Big Daddy Randall, Mr. Jabroni, Chaz Hammond, Bob Sacamano, Junior Bob Dobbs, Cody Thompson, Liquor Like Luigi, Fill Up My Mouth with Farts, Cesar, Moby36, Too Much Karma, Matt Zeus, Bula, Matt Blue Shell Discharge, Brian Richmond, Robbie Air, Jay Callahan, Adam Blank still hasn't reviewed Mario Galaxy, Shoeboxers, Mark Sneed, E-Man Trucker, You Son of a Bitch, why? Tell me why. The Supreme Chozo Rizu, Fallen Snow Kiku, Penguin Milk B Money, Chris Hill is just scared, that can be anyone's ass. Carbon Fiber Zombie, Faded Suffering, Sour Goat Face, Frosty Bear, Lucas Shaman, Roger Stallbox, Pool Cleaner, Lord Long Run Von Hugendom II, Infinity Rage, Because 19 Beers of War, Lord Palmerston, Leroy Jenkins, Nordak, Pee Wee Squitters, Can't Destroy Her, Kevin Monroe, Ryan 4664, The Big Deal, Adam Martinet, Nick Creature, Postman, Darth Skywalter, Bartman Forever, Zombie Exy, Just Car Prank, Scotty J, Please Refrain from Tasting the Knob, Alex R, Ryan Perry, Ted Explosion, Works for Me, AB Killin, Monstrous D Boner, Kia Pup, Brandon DeZeba, Maverick in the Black Hole of Ass known as the Internet, T-Bear 87, Tadpole, Big the Cat, Zamatos, Christopher Britt, Quiet Place Queen, Beef Dingleberry, My Left Nut, Timothy Zabrinsky, Graham Kennedy, Musty Beetle, Maverick Marty, Christian Gabriel, Timmy the Exuberant Turtle, Hits Meals, Isaiah, Squeak Nut, Sleeper Hit, Donnie the Dude, Walter, Sam Carpenter, Drones Madam K, John of the Adult Children Podcast, Chainsaw Francesco, Max Lagroom, I Am the Very Model of a Modern Major General, General Fury, Cody Richardson, Coda Blaze blows alright, he blows big time, Oroku Saki's Gardner, Jimothy, High Plains Drifter, Hegel Waffle, Earl Archangel Otaku, Storm Beagle, Scary Terry, Blaine the Hoagie Man, Wyatt the Surgeon who's not a surgeon, Rowe, a dude named Adam, Decoy Man, Fuzzy 99, Gabe, Matt Babinu, Stud Still Smash, Rush's Dog Walker, Leroy Westrich, Thomas Smith, Beaver Boy, Growly Wog, Laces Out Dan, Jake Carter, swallowing saliva there. Joe the Sandman, Phil Lencher, Tyler, Juris Dr. Mario, Miziru, Dude Where's My Game, Standard Ass Brian, Steve Dulk, DBXJ, Madam Nutsitch, It's That Nerd James, Elijah Burns, Chugger22, Triple Three, Captain Black Silver, Jack Shepard, Holmes, Asa Teminofin, Tylenol. Just a Fish, Randy Barrage, Jeff Bergeron, Titan 420, Dean Doney and Squints, Donnie from Virginia, Wolf Magic 21, Doogie, Andy Hudson, Wolfgang Darren, Mercury 869, G9 PSX, Mike Maloney, Ryan Kinchin, Zane Donovan, Morgan, A-Town, JSK Fusick, Aaron Lawson, Scott Brooks, No One Cares, Dave Thompson, Angry Ticks, Little Buddy Fufu 89, Eldest Millennial, Jordan, Andrew Wright, Chris Fleury, Doug Dorn, Dissect That Dan, Jort King Keegs, J Nasty 15, Sharonic, and Makeshift Mallow Magic Money. Billy, that was a pretty bad batch of shout-outs. Boy, you're cute, though. I'm going to take her out for a pee. I think I'm going to go pee myself. Everybody, make sure you pee, all right? It's good for you. I'm leaving. See you next week for Remember the Game 350. Oh, yeah, and if you made it all the way to the end of this, just a quick note. For the long-time subscriber whose username is Adam Blank still has reviewed Mario Galaxy, you've got about 51 episodes before you might have to find a new fucking username. But shh, don't tell anybody. It's a secret. Shut up.